This is the Obscura Dossier, Episode 2, Web.io. Okay, a collection of journal entries by a Mark Hale. The writing is somewhat legible, so I will do my best to record what I can. First entry, September 15th, 2017. The Atlantic is a restless, heaving thing, vast and cruel in its indifference. I had thought the crossing would bring some measure of relief, or, at the very least, distraction. It did not. The endless waves only echoed what churned inside me, grief as fathomless as the ocean. Each crash against the hull felt personal, as though the sea itself meant to batter loose my memories. At night, the dreams came. No, not dreams. Dreams end. These were something else. They clung. Children's faces. My children. Distorted in pain. Mouths open in silent screams that ring through my skull long after waking. I remember their eyes the most. Wide, accusing, and I did nothing. I could do nothing. And so there's comfort in the bottle, or maybe not comfort, just absence. The kind of silence you drink, thick and amber. The kind when your own thoughts scream too loudly. And I learned quickly that if you sink deep enough into it, the faces go away. For a time. But they always return. Second entry, September 19th, 2017. London greeted me with rain and missing person posters. Dozens of them. I wouldn't have paid much thought to it, except that most of them were missing children's posters. Their faces stapled to brick walls amongst a few other posters of missing adults, the local drunk, you name it. But it was these children that was the most unsettling. I didn't come here looking for ghosts, but they found me all the same. Memory and trauma have a funny way of always being present and manifesting in your day-to-day experience. So naturally, I found myself drawn to the closest bar I could find, some dim backstreet place with sticky floors, that particularly level of staleness that you can only get from decades of spilt beer and bar fights. I don't remember what drink I ordered, just the warmth of it, and the way the glass stuck to my hand like it didn't want to let go. Or perhaps I just couldn't let go. Then came the man. He sat beside me, hollow eyes, cracked lips. He didn't say much at first, just some friendly nods and exchanges of eye contact here and there. I wasn't in the mood to talk. I knew far too well from my previous work that I far more preferred to be alone. But nonetheless, this stranger leant over towards me. I could smell the whiskey on his breath, with a hint of fish, maybe? I don't know, I just remember it smelling very acrid and not at all pleasant. He said he'd seen things, and as he spoke, I got a better whiff of his breath. It reeked of whiskey and gin and something sweeter. He asked me if I saw all the missing persons posters. Said he saw one of them vanish out of nowhere. That one minute they were there and the next they vanished, as if they never existed in the first place. He said it had something to do with some online portal or app. To be quite frank, I wasn't really listening to him. He said it was feeding, that they watch. They're always watching. I should have laughed. I almost did, but something in his tone, there was fear there. Real fear. Not the drunken paranoia of a madman. The kind of fear you only speak of when you're sure the thing you fear isn't listening. Except, perhaps it always is. The bartender didn't share his concern. Said the man was a mad, regular, local flavor of lunatic. Nothing to be worried about, nothing to believe. But he said it too quickly, and his eyes never met mine. I left before the man could say any more, but I think about his words often. Third entry. October 2nd, 2017. The office I've rented is small, quiet. There's a comfort in the silence, but not a kindness. I don't quite know why I came here. Perhaps to escape my past. To escape them. To try and find peace, but I know better than that. I know I need to keep moving, because the only alternative was stopping, and stopping, well, that's when they catch up. I used to be a detective. Chicago. Homicide. I don't talk about it much now. I don't even know why I'm writing about it, but I guess I have to write and open up about it somehow. The last case followed me. Across oceans, across sleep. A man, no, not a man. A man could not be capable of such evil. No, this was a monster. And this monster took more from me than I thought could be taken. Left behind a trail of bodies. 2 of them mine. He was never caught. Not really. There were many suspects, all with perfect alibis. This case became my obsession. I wouldn't sleep until my daughter's murderer was found, and, well, I guess that is why they fired me too. Too much of a risk, that I would take the law into my own hands. Said I needed to move on and let go. I've had enough shrinks and doctors try to tell me what I'm feeling is normal and it will pass, but god damn it. It has been 4 years. I left the force and drank my way through every bar, nightclub, and liquor store across the East Coast, and now I'm here. A new city, a new job, something that resembles a purpose. I take pictures now. People, places, secrets. And sometimes I think the camera sees more than I do. And sometimes I think that's the point. But the past, it lingers. Like a smell in the walls. Like fog. And London has so much fog. Sometimes I think I see movements in it. Shapes. Sometimes when I turn out the lights, I swear I can hear the clicking of small legs on glass. 4th journal entry, December 31st, 2017. Time has a peculiar way of stretching when there is nothing to anchor it. No work, no leads, no purpose. 3 months have passed since my arrival, and though the days slide by in silence, I feel each one carve its mark across my skin, like tally marks in a prison cell. The office is quiet, too quiet. The sort of quiet that doesn't comfort, it engulfs you. There are no clients, no phone calls, not even the illusion of momentum, just the slow drain of what little money I brought with me and the ever-present whisper of dust settling on all my unused equipment. The camera has sat untouched, and I no longer reach for it. It feels wrong somehow, like pointing it at anything now would only capture absence. My drinking has become a ritual, a sacrament. The bottles have gathered along the windowsill at the edge of my desk. Silent witnesses to my decline, and they do not judge, but they do remember. There are nights when I open the top drawer. The Smith & Wesson revolver that I carry is always there, cold and unchanging, waiting. It's not a cry for help, it's a question, and some nights I almost answer it. Outside, the city celebrates. Fireworks bloom over the Thames. People cheer. They believe in new beginnings, in clean slates. I watch them from the darkened window, and I try to feel something. But all I can think of is the noise. The same noise I heard the night everything fell apart. I ask myself if the new year will bring change, or if it's just the same abyss with a new date stamped on it. 5th entry, January 3rd, 2018. She came in just after noon. Pale coat, trembling hands. An elderly woman, looked to be around 70. Her eyes drooped and her hair was a type of silver that was hard to place. Her face looked weary, the kind of weariness you don't get from sleepless nights, but from sleepless months. A feeling I know all too well. She gave no name, not at first, just a story. Her son, Jonathan, gone, vanished without a trace. The police offered platitudes and silence. 4 weeks of waiting, 4 weeks of nothing. And then she offered money. £7,500, which was close to the equivalent of $10,000. Cash. It felt unreal, like being offered sunlight in a coal mine. But it was real. Crisp bills gripped tightly in hands gone near numb with desperation. I didn't want to take it, but I did. This case feels different. Not like Chicago, not like the past. This is something new. I felt my stomach drop the moment she left my office. 6th entry, January 24th, 2018. It's been 3 weeks. Jonathan Whitman remains a shadow. A name without presence. I've walked his route, I've spoken to neighbors, co-workers, anyone who'll talk. Most won't. Those who do can't seem to agree on when they last saw him. Their memories bend. Subtle but unnervingly. One says December 4th, another swears by the 10th. A shopkeeper remembers his face, but not his voice. His flat is untouched. Everything too pristine. It doesn't feel lived in. It feels preserved. Like a museum exhibit. A replica of normal life. The only thing out of place is his phone, found on the bedroom floor. It shouldn't be there. Not someone like Jonathan. Meticulous. Scheduled. At least, that's what his mother told me. For him to leave the house without it, unthinkable. But the phone didn't slip. It was placed. Face down, like it had seen something. Naturally, I've begun combing through its contents. Photos, messages, social apps. All the usual digital garbage. But there's a thread. Something odd in his last searches. Fragments of language, references to something called the Silk Sequence, and a handful of websites that don't seem to exist anymore. And then there's a symbol I found etched into his wall, behind his closet. If I didn't know any better, I would say it most resembled a spider, 8 legs, stylized, repeating in an almost Mandela style. I've seen it elsewhere, graffitied onto alley walls in Shoreditch, carved into the underside of a park bench near his apartment. Always the same, always crude, but unmistakable. I've tried uploading the image to identify it, but every attempt crashes my browser. No errors, just shut down. Blue screen. I've stopped sleeping. Not because I don't want to, but because when I do, I hear clicking, not in the room, inside the dream. Clicking on glass, clicking on bone, like endless tapping away at the edges of my psyche. The camera's begun malfunctioning. Photos from the flat came out blurred, even though the shutter's fine, but always in the same way. Motion blur, heading toward the door as if something was captured leaving. And the phone? It lights up at night. No notifications, no signal, just light. And the worst part? It's been switched off. Entry 7, January 26th, 2018. 10:12 a.m. 2 nights, no sleep. Only the flickering light of screens and the soft, omnipresent hum of digital silence. I've lost count of the hours. Time dissolves when you live inside a screen, pixels bleeding into consciousness, blurring the distinction between the remembered and the real. Jonathan's phone is wrong. Not corrupted, not damaged, just wrong. As if it's being aware. As if it's aware that it's being watched. A curated theater of memory, but something beneath the surface resists inspection. A digital palimpsest. Something overwritten but not erased. The photo gallery was unremarkable at first. Friends, food, the occasional skyline. Going into his search history, 3 recent specific searches. Missing children in Camden. Missing child cases 2017. And finally, the Silk Sequence London. The last one doesn't even resolve to anything, just a dead link, an empty page. But it keeps returning. Autocomplete clings to it like it refuses to be forgotten. I combed through his messages, nothing stands out, no suspicious exchanges, no coded messages. That was until I noticed it. An app on his phone. Red, unmarked, unnamed. Its icon is nothing more than a stylized spider. 8 limbs splayed like fracture lines. I'd missed it before. I should have seen it before. I've stared at this screen for 2 days. How does something like that go unnoticed? But once I saw it, I couldn't stop seeing it. It flicks across just a little slower than the rest, lags half a second behind, like it's trying to match pace. I try to open it, nothing. Try to uninstall it, no response. I scan it with security software, but even the scanner skips over it like it's not even there. It defies interaction, like an invisible weight. It's as though it was always there. But now, and only now, has it decided to be seen. 8th entry, January 26, 2018, 11:45 p.m. Sleep finally came, and with it, dreams. But this was not the usual mosaic of repressed fears and half-buried regret. I stood in a place I didn't recognize. A forest, perhaps, but made only of ash. The trees, if they were trees, were tall and skeletal, brittle branches reaching upward in malformed prayer. And between them, something vast. It didn't move like a creature. It just existed, like an absence, a suggestion of form. Its limbs were long and needle-thin, moved with dreadful slowness, as if it had all the time in the world and no reason to hurry. It didn't approach me. It didn't need to. I woke with a jolt, the memory of the thing etched behind my eyelids. My breath shallow, heartbeat hammering, and then the real horror began. There was something on my hand. At first, just a sensation, a light pressure, but then I felt movement. I looked down, and there was a spider. To my surprise, massive, huntsman-like, its legs splayed across the back of my right hand, and I could have sworn it looked at me. No sound, no warning, it was just there. Then, in less than a second, it bolted up my arm and under my sleeve. I leapt to my feet, swatting, shaking, but there was nothing. No trace, no mark, no bite. It was gone. I even had a mind to remove all my clothes and throw them away just to make sure, and nothing. Had it ever been there? I told myself it was just dream residue, somatic panic, a hallucination brought on by exhaustion and alcohol. But then I looked back at the phone. The screen was awake. I hadn't touched it. And the spider app? Its icon, usually static, had changed. Only subtle, but unmistakably, it twitched. As if something had crawled into it. Just once, a motion like breath. I stared for far too long. Am I cracking? Is this what happens when you stare into the abyss and it decides to look back through glass and digital code? And what on earth is that scratching noise? I can't tell if the scratching is coming from the inside or the outside of the wall. Either way, I'm going to. This has been The Obscura Dossier, written by K.W. Krieger. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time.